Welcome to Blink One. Oh, I did it again.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Blink.
It's like a chopped and screwed Blink 182 podcast.
Yes, splice step, I believe, is the genre that we discovered.
Deep callback there, Josiah.
Yeah, it's been a week.
It has been a week, man. I was saying to you before we started recording that I've been a little disengaged. I've been a distant parent over the last week, but it feels like there's been a lot of activity. And the biggest one seems to be that I feel like we've just killed ska. Like, in my mind, ska was coming back, and we have sort of effectively blunted its return by discussing it too much, releasing too much ska content into the world, and ultimately exhausting people on the subject of ska. Do you feel like that's a fair assessment?
I think that I guess it depends who you ask, because I noticed that some of our followers, in fact, a lot of our followers, in fact, almost all of our followers who engage with us have all been incredibly salty the last few days for various reasons about many different things. There's just sort of something in the air where they're just like airing all their grievances with the pod. And that's fine. I mean, I don't mind it at all. I'll just block you if you annoy me. But
yeah, exactly. That's against people's First Amendment rights, though, Josiah. That's been decreed.
Right. That's only if you're a senior Cheeto Drumphy boy.
That's a good one, man. Way to dig at him. He's going to hate that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Came up with that
That's
earlier.
So highly original.
Yeah, but I noticed, like, for example, MXPX Memes, not to put him on blast because he's one of the greatest pod supporters. He's like a true ska man, and he was kind of live tweeting the first half of the ska season exclusive and getting very upset by some of our takes.
He was not happy, yeah.
Yeah. Then by the end of the episode, he kind of got into it again, and so he deleted his original grievance. Which,
wait, he actually went back and deleted the tweets?
Yeah. I don't know why. It's fine.
Like, it's okay.
It's fine
to
for an
write insulting
MXPX
tweets about.
Yeah, you're an MXPX memes account. You're allowed to have a serious ska opinion.
Well, there was a meltdown that also happened amongst the sort of fan accounts and, of course, the hater accounts. Blink 155 pod sucks, which, of course, is not Blink 155 sucks pod. They are two different Twitter accounts about how this podcast sucks. The pod sucks account had a seeming meltdown over last weekend during the royal wedding. So according to their account, they were no longer able to use their personal account, and so instead had to use their heretofore only used for insulting Blink 155 account to live tweet the entire royal wedding while also complaining about their uncle who stole their wife. Am I explaining the story correctly?
I think so. To be honest with you, I was out that day, not looking at my phone endlessly for once. At which point, Bill Billingsley usually messages me and says, "You okay?" when I haven't looked at my phone for an hour.
Didn't you delete Twitter from your phone?
Yeah, that lasted like a day and a half. But yeah, so I caught up later. But yeah, I think that was right. The royal wedding was really bringing out some deep emotions in the Blink 155 Pod Sucks account. And the Blink 155 Sucks Pod account has stopped posting ever since the Pod Sucks account started. But all of this, I think, is kind of culminating in what is the most absurd thing that's going on this weekend. So I guess if you're listening to this months later, you will have missed this. But one of our fans, Doom
Travel back in time. Go back in time and participate in this event.
Doom Quest, Doom QWEST on Twitter, is hosting a fan-only Google Hangout for fans of the pod this weekend.
Wait, is it fan-only as in, like, we're not invited, or is it fan-only as in if you're not a fan, you are not welcome?
I don't really know. I mean, I just said fan only because, I guess if you're not a fan and you stumble upon this Google Hangout thing, I would actually love it if a non-fan went there. There's a poster and everything. Did you see the poster?
I did see the poster. It looks kind of sick.
Yeah, it's cool. But there's like, so they've promised, MXPX Memes is the headliner. Doom Quest is also on the lineup. There's also 3 other question mark people. So I don't know if other people are showing up or what, but it's supposed to be like a boiler room session mixed with Jimmy Fallon. It's for fans of the pod. It's a ska night, so that sort of erases what you just said about ska season being over. I think it's still here to stay.
Okay.
But they're going to be DJing ska, DJing Blink songs, and hosting a Blink 155 fan hangout on Google Hangout.
I'm so curious. We did this one time with This Exists, and which, for people who haven't been following my career in media, is my tremendously successful YouTube channel that I ignore now in favor of this podcast.
Which you also mostly ignore.
Which I also mostly look at. You get more time with me than my wife does.
Right.
We need to sort of make sure that you understand where you fit into my life. But we did this hangout once with all Patreons. So at the time, we had a fairly successful Patreon. It's since whittled down, obviously, since I haven't published a video in 6 months. But there was a tier where it was like, you can join in a hangout with, myself and Justin, who shoots and edits, and other people who kind of like work on the show, and it'll be great. And it was like myself and Justin and one guy. And so it was just Justin and I, because I'd seen, you copy other people's Patreons. And so there's a lot of this stuff, like obviously with podcasts, it's the exclusive episodes. With a lot of like YouTubers, they do that thing where it's like, we'll hang out, we'll talk about the show. And I guess like I just wasn't as popular as I thought I was. And it was the most excruciating, but like truly surreal and entertaining half hour of my life of just Justin and I talking about the show, while this like, really nice kid from Brazil or something was like, cool, so how do you make the show? And we were like, well, oh God, I want to die. So,
well, that's why I'm really happy that Doom Quest is doing this and not us, because it would be a lot more depressing if we voluntarily set this up. But instead, it was one of our kind fans.
Yeah, it's super sick. I will be at a family reunion on Sunday, so I'm not sure that I will be able to join, depending on how late it goes, I guess.
I will be at church, I believe. If you do want to do it, so... Fuck, this is... No offense, Doom Quest. It's quite a complex rollout here.
It's not easy. I was following the ads for it, and there was a lot of like, okay, well, you need to add this and do that. And I was like, there's a lot of layers to join a Blink-155 podcast fan hangout.
Okay, it's on Sunday,
yes,
May 27th.
Hell yes.
At 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which I think is wrong because right now we're in daylight savings, right? So is it Pacific Daylight Time, not standard?
Yeah, well,
it would be PDT and not PST.
Wow, look at you, Dr. Time.
Look, copy editor thing. Yeah, so that's what it is, and then there is a Gmail address. You should just go to Doom Q West on Twitter if you want to figure this out. There is some sort of way to do it, and you can hang out and take some screenshots because we'll retweet them or whatever.
Please do.
Add the email address garbageartistcollective, all one word, @gmail.com, and then you can get in on this sweet Google Hangout.
So garbageartistcollective @gmail, no weird spelling on that one.
No underscores or anything, just all one word, baby.
Maybe I'll try to join from the family reunion. So, like, I have an aunt who always has this annual, like, it's a lovely garden party, and she always finds some random, Arnott, which is my mother's maiden name. It's like some random Arnott who, like, no one's seen in 50 years.
Will? Is it Will Arnett?
Yeah, this year it's Will Arnett. And last year the guy had a bolo tie, which I was like, it's a cool Arnett. But I think it'd be really neat. And of course, there's a lot of like, awkward explanations of what your job is and how things are going and then that whole rigmarole. I think it would be fantastic in the context of one of those conversations that I'm inevitably going to have 100 times to pull out my phone and say, you want to see how things are going? Check this out, and log into the fan hangout where they're going to be listening to ska and say like, does anyone else in the family have a hangout happening in their honor right now?
Well, Sam, I don't know what the Wi-Fi situation is going to be like at your family reunion, but I would hate for things to be laggy.
This is going to be our most earnest episode, and therefore the worst episode of Blink-155 of all time. Because
I pressed play on this song earlier and I immediately started like welling up in my eyes and just like feeling so fucking earnest.
I felt every single emotion that I have experienced since the moment I put Dude Ranch in my Discman, which of course I'm referring to when I used to jerk off into my Discman. When I first put on Dude Ranch, and like every single second of my life from that moment until right now while you and I are recording flashed before my eyes. I felt it in every inch of my body. I felt like I lived my life again.
Yeah, I felt like I was in Boyhood.
Yeah. Oh, man. How sick is it that Blink is in Boyhood, though?
I know. That's really cool. It's probably the best part.
It is.
The worst thing about that movie is that they can't really predict how awkward and gangly the boy will turn out. And he really does in the end. He's a very awkward and gangly boy.
Or do you feel like they regretted casting him? Like they wanted a less
probably
awkward
they were
boy?
like, good Lord. Let's end it. We were going to go till he was 20, but my God.
Right. They were going to keep doing a 7-Up thing of just like again and again and again. And they were like, I think we got to sort of cut our losses here.
But honestly, out of context, if you said Waggy, I would be like, oh, yeah, I think I like that song. And that happens with almost every single song on Dude Ranch where you're just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I really like that song. And then you just listen to it out of the context of the whole thing. And it's like unbelievably incredible. Yeah.
It's funny, especially because on this record, the songs are, I guess this is pretty standard now that I'm thinking about it, but there's not a lot of songs that are titled with what's in the, like they're not chorus titles. I don't know. What's the term? Is there a term for that actually? Like a chorus title? Like there should be some, I bet there's a musical term for this. Anyway,
chorus title.
Chorus title. Someone will tweet it at us in frustration and I'll pretend that I knew it the whole time.
Neither of us will remember what they're referring to.
What are you talking about, man? So there's like this glut of like, it's like enthused, waggy, emo, like all these songs that are
Untitled also is like.
Yeah. In the middle of this record, kind of like once you've gotten over the hump of Damn It. And they're, first of all, I mean, they're all fucking great, but like this song, oh my fucking God. But yeah, like Waggy out of context. And actually, we should say, and we didn't say, is that this was a suggestion from the board of the pod. So
right.
On the Blink-155 Patreon, which we are pumping content into these days at an astonishing pace.
Unloading. Just pooling content over there.
just dude ranching.
Blasting ropes of ideas.
So one of the ropes that we received sort of in a rope swap was
That's a good name for the exchange of ideas. I like it.
A rope swap.
It's like docking. We put our heads together like docking.
Yeah. So we docked with John O'Hunter, who is a board of the pod patron, which is the exclusive tier. It's not exclusive at all, where you can weigh in on matters of the pod when you and I are in a deadlock. It's you get access, of course, to all of our Dynamite exclusives. And so you and I kind of didn't know what song to do this week. I was suggesting a California Deluxe song just to get them out of the fucking way. You really weren't sure. We have a great guest this week. We were like, people might actually listen to this episode. Unlike all of our other trash guests that drew in no additional listeners.
True.
And John was
Reynolds.
like, I don't think you've done. Have you done Waggy yet? Do Waggy. And somebody else suggested Dude Ranch, and I'm not giving them credit right now.
I thought that was a little weird that someone who's like donating that much money was unsure of whether we'd done a song.
Right? Yeah, because like they're not that many episodes, but I kind of appreciate that kind of laissez-faire response. Like I don't even know.
The money is meaningless to this guy. He doesn't give a shit.
No,
it doesn't matter to him.
Does not even matter. I think it was Mars Nightlife said that it's been a while since we did Dude Ranch. And they suggested other songs, but at that point we had decided to do Waggy. So thank you to the board of the pod for
There were other suggestions
Waggy
from other board members too, and we appreciate their opinions and value their dollars, but they can all go fuck themselves. We picked Waggy.
Yeah. But this is a song where when Jono suggested Waggy, I thought like, right, Waggy rules, but I can't even remember like which one Waggy was.
Yeah, same.
Which is a fucking tongue twister. And dude, yeah, like putting it on, like right now it's summer in Toronto. Like I just got driven in someone's like sick BMW from a meeting I was at. Like I've just had like a really cool afternoon. Admittedly, I was in the back seat. Like it was a coupe, and I got You know, where you got to like go behind the chair. It was like really awkward and my glasses fell off. But I still felt really cool being in this car.
Sounds like a really cool afternoon.
Thanks, man. So I got home and windows are open in my house. Birds are chirping. You can probably hear them on the podcast. And it's annoying you, but I'm sorry. It's summer and I love it. And then just like banged this song through every speaker in my house and like felt alive. Like with that youthful energy that I have not felt since I became old and decrepit.
Yeah, I mean, so think about that story of getting to go into B&W and sit in the back seat is just so depressing to me.
It was like a really nice car that I was in the back seat of, though. It's
just it's the small pleasures in life that really
exactly the nice, really nice leather. It had a really nice sort of like onboard screen. It was cool to be in the back of.
But yeah, there's something about the guitar in this song that is just like so sad and heartbreaking too. Like, I think this is Tom very early, like what he ruined with Angels and Airwaves and that kind of shit. Like this is an early example of him being like, oh man, I can make octave chords like make you want to weep if I want.
It is so effective. Like even just like the riff and the way it comes in. It's true. It's already heartbreaking. And then it is like, this is masterful Mark at work.
It really is. Yeah. You want to, well, okay. Before we get into the lyrics, I just want to mention you were talking about the titles and how they're all random. Well, Mark's explanation of the title, I'm not sure if you know.
I do not know.
I made up this word while belching and wanted to title a song with it. This was the song that got stuck with that title. So there you go. That's what Waggy is.
This song is that, eh? Just a belch jam?
Well, that's what they were doing on this album, and that's why this album is so effective, because the lyrics are serious, but the presentation is stupid. It's really a wonderful adolescent boy way of sort of shielding your feelings beneath a sort of candy shell. Like the M&Ms of thoughts.
M&M's of Thought seems like a really actually like a dumb but absolutely plausible album title for like a 15-year-old band that is influenced by Blink-182 and has the exact conversation that you and I just had while like high by some railroad tracks or whatever.
Yeah.
But like it's so interesting to sort of couch and almost protect yourself that way, to be like, well, I was just joking. Like we're just fucking around. When like this song is like kind of profoundly sad, right?
Yeah, I mean, the main lyric that stands out to me because I think it's just this is again Mark really peaked here. Maybe Enema of the State he had some really good lyrics, but Dude Ranch is like very maybe even accidentally profound. But when he says, wishing I could take back all those words that meant nothing that I didn't say, it's sort of like a double negative or like a non-thought. Like it cancels itself out in a really clever way. Whereas I've been thinking about the song Bored to Death lately when he says life is too short to last long. And we're obviously going to talk about that for like 3 hours when we get to that episode.
Yes.
But that is,
you just mean that lyric. We're going to talk about that lyric for 3 hours?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's so frustrating. But I think maybe he was trying to do the same thing there as here. But he's just sort of... Like, this is him sort of doing wordplay in this weird, windy way, and it's really working. And then that newer one is him trying to revisit that old well, and it just... Something is getting fucked up. But to me, I was thinking about it earlier, and this old song seems like old pre-Float On Modest Mouse, and then the newer thing is like post-Float On Modest Mouse, where, again, it's like weird wordplay that just seems so forced now.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting way of phrasing it, because it is a similar sort of attempt to turn a phrase. And if you like really break down the Waggy lyric, it obviously makes no sense, but it's so fucking evocative. Like, I remember, and it's so funny, like, this song makes me feel all of the like intense heartbreak that I, was going through in the 8th grade. Like,
yeah.
The notion of relating to this song as a person who like has a light dusting of pubes is so fucking funny.
You're talking about today.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like a swimmer. And
How else are you going to slide into the back of that BMW?
that's true. So
No, there's a meme going around this week that I hate describing memes, especially on something that will be on the internet forever.
but I know the one you're talking about, and it is, yes, it's that. It's totally that.
It's like you, even before you've even ever been in a relationship, you hear this song and you're like, oh, I'm so depressed. I can't believe she rejected me, but there's like no actual she in mind.
Yeah, it evokes no particular memory for you, but it also, I think, speaks to, like, I mean, when we get sort of trained by the media that we consume to sort of understand kind of certain things and certain feelings, but it's kind of like, I think this is someone else's bit, but the idea that, like, you know, a dog is sort of like training wheels for the inevitable tragedy that you will go through in your life as an adult. Like, as a kid, your dog dying is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. And like, when I think about my dog dying from when I was a kid, like, it still makes me as sad as any human being dying. That's like, you know, it's like, it imprints on you and it kind of teaches you to understand grief in a way. And you see, I guess, depictions of like lost love and tragedy in movies and stuff. And so there is like an innate, I mean, those are like human emotions. And it's almost like what's so incredible with the song and what you were saying about kind of Tom's guitar playing on it is that it evokes all of that. Like, you hear that as an 8-year-old that has never had your heart broken. Like, I had a very, there are 8-year-olds, 8th grader. There are 8th graders, I'm sure, who have had like very difficult lives who maybe can relate to some of the tragedy in this song, although it's a pretty suburban tragedy. I had gone through nothing sad at all. I still have not. Like, I am touched in some capacity because I have just slid through life on that like cis white man shit.
Just pubelessly sliding through life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true though. There's something, and actually, I think even when I read the lyrics and listen to them, they don't really speak to me that much. But it is that guitar and the sound of the music. And it makes me think of the lyrics of Lemmings, which really hit me more.
Yes,
just kind of like saying goodbye to old friends or whatever. But yeah, there's just even musically, it's just immediately you're just like, oh my God, I'm so sad. I'm so happy.
You know what? I feel like what's crazy about this song, and I feel this way about, again, the best songs on this album, is I don't think they ever sound like this again. There's moments that sort of still hit emotionally. Obviously, like, as we've discussed over hours and hours already, there's really like weighty emotion in a lot of the catalog, you know, probably for longer than there even deserves to be in terms of a pop punk band's shelf life. But like, this song, there's nothing that sounds like this, but there is like Lemmings, Untitled, Pathetic, like they all sort of seem to fit into the same universe, right? And I don't think there's anything after this album that is in this same soul, like this same solar, whatever's bigger. The universe, I guess, is big in the same universe, right?
Well, I think it really does speak to how kind of amazing this band is, because some days I think I fucking hate them. Like when I watched them play on Jimmy Kimmel last night, which I'm going to play a little bit for you in a second.
I don't want to, dude, why you want to bring me down? Like, I'm flying right now.
I know, but that's why we need some reality. We need a dose of reality. But, you know, there's just way too many good songs. Like, your little top 5 bit that you do is so relatable and real, because
it's not a bit.
Whenever I'm listening to Enema of the State, I'm like, oh yeah, this album's amazing. And then whenever I'm listening to Toy Patch, I'm like, oh yeah, this is amazing. Same with Self Unentitled. And then I put on Dude Ranch and I'm like, this is the greatest work of art of all time.
Yeah,
there's so much inside of this band. It's crazy.
And this is the most perfect moment. And in that sense, the belch thing, which I didn't even know about, it just captures it, man. It's that thing where it's okay to kind of tap into, you know, really like the corniest end of your adolescent emotions and still feel protected, because the cover of this album is a massive pair of bull testicles.
Right. And then there's obviously also a reference to jacking off in this song. I'll just jack off in my room until then.
Oh, so relatable.
It's not even like him saying it, I think, is them being funny, but it's also not really a joke.
It's not.
So
There's like a
I
harm
kind of
on
like
top
it too.
of it. No, dude.
Yeah.
It's the most tragic usage of jacking off. Like maybe since like what's the movie? You know the movie with the really sad jacking off. That one.
Don't Breathe.
I haven't seen Don't Breathe, so I don't get the joke.
There's an amazing cum scene at the end of that movie.
Sick. Is it? Oh fuck! What's the movie? Hold on, I'm gonna yell at Ashley. 1 second. Hey Ashley, what's the movie with the like super grotesque, sad jerk off scene where he's like sticking the photos on the wall?
Call Me by Your Name?
No, it's not Call Me by Your Name. Does that have a sad jerk? I haven't seen Call Me by Your Name. Okay. Pardon what?
What is it?
I don't know. No, it's okay. We'll figure it out. I'm googling sad jerk off.
That's a good way to bring your wife into the conversation.
into the universe of the pod. Urban Dictionary. Sad yank. Anyway.
Oh God. What I was gonna say about it is that I've always thought it was hilarious that they say this jack off thing. It's not really that sad. I mean, it's not really that funny, but it's just like a reference. But then the like lead guitar thing sounds so wanky after, and it perfectly it like the you can just like see Tom walking around yanking on his hog to the music. It's so funny, and I wonder if that was on purpose or not to be like, let's put the most wanky thing in here right now.
Yeah, it's just like the fact that you have the kind of like harmony that goes on top of it, I think is like very like there's no way they're joking. It's to me it is this idea of like just I don't know, like I'm sure you jacked off when you were bummed out as a fucking teenager just because like everything was shit and you had nothing to do, right? Like it's every time you jack off, it isn't like a hilarious experience.
Yeah. But usually when it's referenced in song, it is at least by Blink-182 intended to be funny.
Yeah, that's true. They are not typically using it to be funny.
But another interesting thing about it is that on They Came to Conquer Uranus, which this song also appears on prior, the lyric was different. It was just I'll just hide in my room until then. So I'm gonna play you that version while you're trying to find some masturbating scene or whatever you're doing over there.
I found it, by the way. Okay. Ashley just yelled it, and she just messaged me. Happiness, Todd Salons. Ashley, you got it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I've never actually watched that.
Dude, the jerking off in that movie is sad. Thanks, Ashley. Fucking Todd Salons. That man has some problems. Anyway,
I'm more into Justice League.
You fucking dickhead.
The version on They Came to Conquer Uranus is a lot rawer and a little bit faster, but they also didn't say the same lyrics. So I'll just play you that part right now. Because why not?
Yeah, man.
I try to convince you that things could be different, but somehow they end up the same. But what did you expect from me? What am I supposed to do? You say that you're starting to feel like you're getting lost. Well, I do too. I don't want to live this lie again. I know I'll get it right, but I don't know when. But I'll open my eyes, I've got something inside. I'll just hide in my room until then.
I mean, I love like raw demo vibes, but the jerk off line is better.
Yeah, even like syllabically.
Yeah, because it's the like it just punches in a really like. That's why it's sad, man. It's. I wonder if they thought they were joking. I find it hard to believe.
Also, I just realized that doesn't really work with my theory that the guitar solo is particularly masturbatory because it appears on Uranus as well. So
right, but I mean, maybe that's why they were like, "Yo, it kind of sounds like you're jerking the guitar off, man." Hey, wait. Also, just one final happiness sad yank update. Of course, is Ashley just messaged me to remind me that it's Philip Seymour Hoffman doing the sad yank, throwing those ranchy ropes. Of tragedy. So R.I.P. to a real one.
Rope in peace.
Oh
man. While we're on the subject of wanky guitar solos. I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit before I depress you with some live videos.
Great, thank you. Because I'm like now I'm firing. I feel so good. So
well, this is also really bad. But so there's this guy, Little Red Guitars too, that always pops
Right.
up, and he's like, what if Tom DeLonge played guitar on whatever? What if fucking, and it's always the answer to the question is always, oh, it would be much worse. So he has a video from 2014, Little Red Guitars 2. What if Blink-182's Waggy had a guitar solo? And
I would
we've just
love to know.
We just established that it does have one, perfectly
yeah,
wanky
it's
one.
like a
that
good
sounds
one
like,
too.
yeah, it's just like a stupid hammer-on thing. It's what it should be. But here's what Little Red Guitars 2 thinks it should sound like. Oh wait, hang on. I need you to look at it also, because he does some like really emotive faces into the camera while he's doing it.
I appreciate that you stopped to be like, I want you to hurt more.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot about that. Okay, now please watch along.
Okay, around what time should I be watching it from? So
the very beginning. Yeah, sorry. So this is a 3.5-minute video that opens with a guitar solo that no one asked for, and then concludes with a long tutorial on how to achieve the exact sound of said guitar solo.
Sick.
And then he lets the original one still play. So it's more like, what if Steve Vai was practicing next door to Blink-182?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question that has long troubled many a rock historian. So have they seen this video? We got to make sure like Dr. Rob Bowman up at York University sees this video. He's got to know. So, like, did you learn the guitar solo? Did you follow his instructions?
Not yet. Maybe I should. Would that be a good thing for the Patreon, that I could learn this guitar solo? And I feel like it's maybe a plug for an app or something too. He's telling you to download this app to achieve this tone,
right.
get in the tone zone.
Have we discussed, by the way, on the pod, the fact that we finally broke $500 a month? Is that
I know, yeah. So that means I got to do a cover. I guess.
You got to do it. It says covers, so we should maybe establish what the limit is. But we set when we started the Patreon what at the time seemed truly stupid to us, which was if we can get to $500 a month, Josiah would start recording Blink-182 covers. In particular, I believe of the least popular, least covered songs.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Is like not like. Because someone was suggesting I cover, I don't know, Anthem Part 2 or something. But I want to do the ones where there was, like, no good covers.
Yeah.
Like 6, 8, or... I think the first one I'm going to do when I get around to it will be Reebok commercial.
Sick. Yeah, that'll be great, man. You know what you should do? We should get George Pettit to guest on your cover.
Yeah.
Like, get him to do a verse or whatever. He would, I mean, he's an enthusiastic Reebok commercial fan.
Let's just live on the pod commit him to this without asking.
Well, okay, look, so George, if you're listening to the pod, if you can maybe shoot me a text, let me know that you're down, because we've now promised it to the people who give us their hard-earned money to listen to us commit people to things that they haven't agreed to. So, yeah, that's how it goes.
So that's a thing. I got a more work for me on this project.
Well, to be like honestly, we needed to set something up that would finally get you to do something, right? So we figured at $500, Josiah would finally start pulling his weight, and I would not be shouldering the full burden of the podcast, of doing the research, of running all the socials.
Maybe this also should be said off mic, but speaking of ridiculous goals on the Patreon, I noticed the next goal says that we're going to like fly to stay at an Airbnb in South Asia or something.
Yeah, I think we joked about that on in the episode. There's the couple whose wedding video is scored by, I think, Anthem Part 2, right?
Right.
They are on couchsurfer.com, and you can stay with them.
I'm just going to propose right now that we go ahead and delete that whole on the Patreon.
Are you worried we're going to make it to $1,000 a month and have to fly to Manila, Josiah?
Yeah, I mean, How much
Should
does that
we-
cost? I don't know.
I don't know. I've never gone. Maybe we should make it so
I don't have
1,000
this. I don't have this backseat of a BMW money that you
Well,
have.
you're about to if we're making all of this Patreon, cheddar. So why don't we change it to we'll go to Indonesia? Because obviously the Manila joke has passed, but Indonesian pop punk is real and happening right now. So
And then as soon as we hit the $1,000 mark, we will delete it so that we don't have to do it.
I mean, look, if you want to let the people down, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, all right. So would you
Okay.
like to start depressed and end happy, or start happy and end depressed? The age-old
great-
question of the pod.
Great Manine song start, happy and mad. Shout outs, Manine. I would like to start with the bad news and then go to the good news. Everyone always picks that, right? Who picks good news first?
I don't know. I've never actually been presented with that question. In
No one's ever
IRL.
said I've had good news and bad news to you?
No.
Oh. Well, I will look forward to the
It's just
occasion of
always
delivering.
been. I've got a lot of bad news for you. It's always been like. It's always been like you have mail from Canada Revenue Agency, but you need to find this number from this line on your tax form that you've lost, and then use that to try to log in. But then we're gonna mail you a password for the CRA site, and then you have to remember not to lose this physical mail to log in.
They do love to mail you passwords, the CRA. Of course, Blink-155, the internet's most popular Blink-182 podcast, wholly dedicated to the ins and outs of the Canadian Revenue Agency.
I mean, this is, I hate to say it, but this is probably our most Canadian episode. In addition to being our most earnest episode, it's our most Canadian. So I apologize solely to Bill Billingsley, who sends me late night DMs complaining that we're too Canadian.
Okay, so you were saying before we got into like tax fraud.
Yeah, no, I never said that, but yeah. So last night, Blink-182, the same band that released the song Waggy on Dude Ranch and wrote just a number of timeless, borderline American standards about the suburban teen experience. Last night they appeared on the Mercedes-Benz stage on Jimmy Kimmel Live to promote their forthcoming Las Vegas residency that starts this weekend.
Wow, that's very exciting.
So the same band that we're talking about here, both of these are the same band. And I just want to play you a little bit of Kings of the Weekend live on TV, just so you can get a feel for, like, especially my favorite part is Matt Skiba's guitar tone. So speaking of tone with the guitarist guy, so let's hear how Kings of the Weekend sounded on Jimmy Kimmel.
Kings of the Weekend, Blink 182.
Can you read my thoughts? I'm not sure what I said. I feel dumb and long not coming. Did you steal my prayers? I don't know where I was. I feel numb and it's all or nothing. All or nothing. It's Friday night, we lose our minds in a downward spiral.
The vocals are so dry. Like, just like crank the reverb, do something. Like,
Well, it's also, I wanted to say, like, maybe they sound better like when you're actually in person live, but they've done so many streams now and TV appearances and all these things that they should have like a sound person who knows how to make it not sound like a 15-watt Yamaha practice amp that's been mic'd, or like a PV practice amp.
yeah, that part of it's just so baffling. Like, it just shouldn't. They've been a band for so long. They're gonna understand, like, not being a lot of things, but it sounds like shit.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds insanely awful.
And also, like, do you go back and like watch that performance and be like, "Fuck yeah, nailed it"? Like, and is your manager like, "Boys, you killed it again"? What's the like circle of yes men that lead to something so just like?
I feel like this entire situation is entirely just yes men upon yes men.
Yeah,
It has to be.
They should bring us in. I think, it's pretty obvious that we've got a good, fresh perspective that is highly critical and yet also extremely affectionate.
Exactly. I agree. So with that performance in mind of what they're currently like now, just feeling a little bit maybe blue about it, a little bit upset, here's something that almost made me cry earlier, to be honest.
Wow. You're like having a misty day, huh?
I am, yeah. Because of this song. So this is them playing it in 1998.
Oh, I'm going to cry now.
Yeah, in Lawrence, Kansas. And this is the same, theoretically in name at least, the same band. So this is what Waggy sounded like in 1998.
And that video also is like a VHS with like the sort of like roll that happens. Like it looks like a beautiful document from a past that was too beautiful to have actually occurred.
Exactly.
Like some Netflix show where you're like, the 80s wasn't that neon.
Yeah, totally. I would watch a Netflix show that was just recreations of mid to late 90s Blink-182 performances.
Yeah. I mean, look, they're cranking out content in the next couple of years, so you can probably
a lot of people said about the Jimmy Kimmel one that Travis was like the best part, and I agree that he is the best part, even though I don't love it necessarily. Like, it feels like you're at a drum clinic when you watch them play. He's really good, but it just overpowers everything else. But Scott in this video is just, once again, just a barreling like train of energy.
Yeah.
He just like propels everything forward, and there's so many punk jumps and running around and barely getting back to the mic in time to sing. It's just like, so good.
I know. I'm actually sadder because we did the good one last, you know?
Well, would it make you feel better if I did something bad again?
Josiah.
Would that help?
You're not going to do something bad, are you?
I'm a bad boy. They also, it's not just the current Blink's fault for being so lame, because they also did, remember in like the 2010s when they would come out and do an acoustic thing in the middle of the show and like revisit old songs?
Mm-hmm.
In 2012 in Newcastle, they did a little acoustic version of this, and it sounds like this.
I loved it. It was like Dashboard.
It's so bad.
But you know what? At least it's being recorded from the back of the fucking room. Like, doing live music on television is really hard. Like, mixing live music for television, I mean, like, even shows like SNL, which, like, occasionally do it okay, often sound like shit. It's just not the way that whole thing is supposed to go.
But at the same time, there must be someone who knows how to do it somewhere.
Sort of. The SNL person is like the closest. Like that person gets flown to do like other TV things because they are generally accepted to be like the only person that gets it. And oftentimes when I watch SNL, I'm thinking this sounds like shit.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Like whenever Blink-182 performed on SNL.
That's an example of some of the times that I thought that. And so at least like on that recording, it's someone in the back of the room. And so you've got all the slap and bullshit happening of like a live band in a room, which is how you would hear it. So maybe that's the solution, is all televised live music. Instead of actually miking and mixing and trying to make it sound good, just have one guy like hold up a Zoom recorder in the middle of the audience and just run that out. And it'll be better. Because I bet that 1998 show, if it was close mic'd, we'd be like, holy shit. I mean, it'd still be extremely sick, but it's the benefit of somebody recording it from like the top of a balcony, right?
Well, outside of the recording quality, I think that, and there's a lot of covers like this too, the earnestness and the emotion of the song makes even Mark and Tom occasionally tempted to make it way too schmaltzy.
Yeah, like that.
And that's where the protection of naming it after a belch, that's where that keeps it in the right zone where it's not embarrassing. If you keep it in the adolescent idiot zone.
Yeah, the belch zone, the B zone.
Yeah.
The bazone. Yeah, I guess that's the problem, is that sort of is making the subtext the text by playing it in the style of a Chris Capabara.
Right.
Chris Capabara. Has anyone made that a meme yet?
I don't know. I just noticed that making the subtext to the text is your kind of your thing.
As
lately.
it was coming out of my mouth.
Should I say it? Or?
Yeah, yeah.
We all have tics like that.
Yeah, here's the thing about saying that the subtext is the text, Josiah. It's sick.
Yeah. I love words and reading and stuff.
You are a true wordsmith. Like, for all of the, gentle jibes that you give to the Canadian journalistic establishment, you are a regular patron of the Pine to Pageman.
It's funny. It wasn't really worth mentioning because there's no good definitions, but I looked up Waggy on Urban Dictionary, and there's just the dumbest definitions in the world that people have made, like trying to make it about the lyrics to the song, or just making it about their friend or whatever. Like, I feel like Urban Dictionary used to just accept anything, but Matt Ritchie, friend of the pod, he tried to make the Pint and the Pageman Urban Dictionary page, and they rejected it.
Yo, Urban Dictionary is not welcome in the nation.
Yeah, Urban Dictionary can go fuck themselves.
We should get somebody from Urban Dictionary on the pod to talk about why they are denying our loyal listeners the right
They're suppressing free speech.
It's true, man. This is bullshit. They're no better than Drumpf, eh?
So I think we got to move along because we're in one of those special, wonderful episodes again where
there's a lot of covers.
Obscure enough title. Not only that, but it's an obscure enough title that just searching Blink Waggy has unearthed some wonderful gems.
Okay, but like wonderful gems or like TV repair videos?
Those are the same thing. So first of all, this is really funny. This user, hotdog287, and this is just like, I just want to say, I pretentiously have bragged about loving British TV. As much as the next pretentious North American person has. And there is a lot of very good highbrow British TV. But there's also a lot of British comedy where you're like, these people have no brains whatsoever and are idiots. And I don't know how I feel about this, but if you scroll down on Hotdog287's page, there are multiple videos entitled Where is Waggy? And in case the audio doesn't come through perfectly clearly, this man's name is Waggy, and he just says where he is each time and does a dance. So I'm going to play you a couple Where is Waggy videos if you'll allow it.
I will not allow it. I don't want this.
Well, I'm going to play them anyways.
Okay.
Waggy in the chippy.
So that was Waggy in the Chippy. Here's, I think he's in a convenience store of some sort.
Right.
Waggy in bargain booth.
He does the same dance and god-awful singing after each time. And then there's a Christmas one.
Waggy baby's Christmas tree.
And finally, I'll just play you the Chinese restaurant with Waggy.
No, I know how to do it. Waggy out the Chinese.
So there are about 12 of these Where's Waggy videos. And it always ends with dee 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 dee.
This is one of those things that just feels so incredibly British to me that it could have been like a joke like on Arrested Development, which I recognize is now problematic and no longer support, but like in the whole like Little Britain kind of, series of not super funny episodes in season 3 or whatever, like it's just too British, like in a way where I'm like, I bet this is the most popular. Like, I bet like if Waggy ran like a joke campaign for, prime minister, like he'd get a lot of votes, and then get invited onto John Oliver.
And then he'd get knighted.
Yeah, totally. He'd be part of the, like, what is it? Like the Monster Raving Loony Party or whatever it is they have over there.
Like how they always have like some gimmick song as the top song every year.
Yeah, it's true. It's like Hob My Knob by Waggy. What?
And every British person is always trying to make me watch Spaced, and it's not that good. Like, stop trying to tell me to watch Spaced, you guys. So anyways, that was Where Is Waggy. I'm going to do a separate thread with all of the Where Is Waggy videos.
Okay, good.
For the few of you that like to see them. Because I don't know. I think it's good to know where Waggy is.
If, like, our British listeners, though, could let us know, like, the contemporary popularity of Waggy, that would be helpful. So thank you.
Yeah. All right. And now I'm going to play you another song that I found called Waggy. It's not, even though it was invented by the Belch, it's not actually the only song called Waggy. So here's another song called Waggy from the user Josh.0 TV_gaming. This has 18 views. So here's the other song called Waggy.
Yo, what's up, you freaking bomb song? I'm going to sing the best song ever. My brother helped me produce it. My friend helped me produce it. And then my other friend, he told me to put this online. So here it goes. Waggy, 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 wag, 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 waggy, 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 wag, 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 waggy, 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 waggy. By the way, this is just for your satisfaction. No other reason. Waggy, 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 waggy. Waggy, waggy, waggy. Okay, that might be it, because I don't want to spend this whole video singing Waggy. So thank you so much for watching this video. Be happy, you freaking bomb squad. Goodbye.
So that was Waggy. Different interpretation of similar themes, I think.
I mean, first of all, this entire podcast is now dedicated to that kid.
Yeah, no,
like that's it. Like we're shutting it down. We made it. What is this? This is 46 episodes. This is it. So thank you to everyone who supported Blink 155 all these years. We are now officially what is this? We're now officially
Josh.0 TV_gaming. Now that video only had 17 views. I just noticed one that only has 8 views, and it's called My Mom Has 2 Phones, but it's just spelled T-O, and it's only 1 second long. So I think I'd like to hear what that one is like, if you'll allow it. It was just a very gentle
Yo, he has a video called This Guy Stole My YouTube Channel Name. Should we watch that and see, like, if we can maybe get some Blink 155 justice going for this kid?
Oh yeah, we got a Josh.0. He's bringing us so much joy. Give me the link here.
Okay, because I mean, just now that we're entirely dedicated to his career and catalog, it feels like we kind of gotta
for all the things we said about how much we love the Blink song Waggy. I gotta say Josh.0 TV_gaming's Waggy is a superior song. It made me feel even more emotional.
I mean, I kind of felt like I was gonna cry for sure. This is the best Waggy. This is the best incarnation of Waggy.
Yeah, I mean, there are multiple. Yeah, that's fine. There's room for more than one Waggy, but we should just make sure that the ranking is clear.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, welcome to the vlog. I don't really look good right now because I just woke up. So this morning, I opened my laptop, searched up my YouTube channel name, and guess what I found? I found another person using my YouTube channel name. That is proof. That's proof. And I definitely had it for him. I need to turn down the darkness over here. Yeah. See, that is definitely proof. So guys, make sure to go to, if you guys find this when you're looking for my YouTube channel.
Yeah, so it looks like there is another Josh.0
TV underscore gaming? Or do you think...
No, it's just Josh.0 TV, so I'm wondering if he changed it to underscore gaming. He lost the battle, maybe.
Wow, that sucks. And this is too late. This video is from 2016, so like...
And Waggy was from 2017, so...
Wow.
Damn.
And I got to say
Exciting.
this. So I'm on Josh.0 TV's channel, the guy who stole his channel name, and the description is only, I don't eat ass. And I got to say, Josh.0 TV, it's 2018. You have
you're
to
not
eat
a
ass now.
millennial?
Yeah.
Is that, or I guess he's what is the next one? They don't?
Millennials.
channels?
They're millennials.
Willennial?
It's a millennium joke. You know the...
All right. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say. I think it's too late for street justice for the Josh.0 TV YouTube battle of 2016.
True, but at least let the record show that you and I were on the right side of history in the Josh.0 TV channel wars.
And now that it's like a TV, yeah. Well, I guess it's always had TV, but I'm just saying, this is technically a TV. It falls under the TV repair category of videos. It says TV
Yep,
in the title.
that's it. Yeah.
So for other videos that are entirely on topic, so you're not allowed to get mad, this video, just take a look at this video and tell me that that's not on topic with that title, right?
I mean, so the title of this video is Waggy Dude Ranch Blink 182. So you send me this, and I think to myself, wow, Josiah's, really buckling down. He's taking the pod seriously. He's committed to not wasting, not only my time, but the time of all of our listeners.
Yeah, so Gene Monroe uploaded this in 2017. It's got 8 views. Waggy by Blink-182 from their album Dude Ranch. Enjoy. I would love to enjoy it. Thank you for uploading it, Gene Monroe. Except this video is 6 minutes long, and it's just cars loudly driving around a desert, zooming around. I mean, it's kind of cool. They're being filmed, but I don't know what to say about it. I
mean, this video is so sick. It's like a dude in a really vintage Jeep just driving, real buck wild around the desert. This looks so fun. I wish I was here.
Yeah, and it also reminds me of the what are those wood panel station wagons called, Woodies or something?
Oh,
but
yeah,
Fred Durst's entire Instagram is dedicated to these cars. So make sure you follow Fred Durst on Instagram as well, because that's what his old. But yeah, so this I was like, oh, that's a little bit odd. I don't know. I skipped around looking for music. No, just incredibly badass sand dune driving. So that's cool, right?
Yeah, that's actually pretty sick. Thanks.
Yeah, cool. So now I'm just curious if this is a different user. I'm curious what you think this video is about.
Okay. So there's another video also titled Waggy Dude Ranch Blink 182. Although I can see from the thumbnail that we might be in a similar situation with a Woody.
Now
Woody here.
This one was uploaded in 2017 by a user named Dennis Miller. So possibly the 90s comedian turned psycho guy. And he's written Waggy by Blink-182 from their album Dude Ranch. Enjoy. And then if you keep reading, it says, check out my new album, Time is a Stranger on iTunes, which I looked up, and that's by Odie Acoustic, who routinely covers Blink-182 songs. So I don't really know, but let's just make sure that this is not a Blink-182 video.
We should confirm, yeah.
All right, I'm thinking that this one is, once again, cars driving around hills in a desert somewhere.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the same car in the same desert, but on a different, but uploaded by comedian / total loser Dennis Miller.
So now,
is it like scraping
a peek
information?
behind the curtain is that we were talking about YouTube content laws and payment and stuff, and someone was DMing me trying to explain to me that you were wrong, and it was all very confusing. I didn't
And
wanna
they
be
were
the-
wrong. I want to point. You sent me those messages, and like I don't even remember this person's fucking name, but this
Yeah.
fool does
Thanks
not.
for listening to the pod, but do not speak to us with that misinformation.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was really like caught in the middle. Like, it's not my battle. I don't give a fuck about YouTube licensing rights
Right.
issues. But I'm wondering, do you think that the song was originally on here and then got removed?
I don't
Probably
think.
not.
No, I think that what's interesting is it sounds like this is a description that's been scraped, right? So in the same way that there was that whole hullabaloo a couple of months ago about all those children's videos that were seemingly being kind of auto-generated, that would have
Right.
sort of titles that were kind of gobbledygook from popular children's videos and descriptions that were similarly just like sort of a tag mash. And then the video themselves would be like a horrifying dystopia of, Spider-Man fucking Elsa, while like the Hulk just Philip Seymour Hoffman's in the background. And
Yeah.
and I think this is the same thing because the fact that this is connected to an OD acoustic album makes me think that this was scraped from some OD acoustic video. Although searching for the description, you don't find that video anymore online. But no, you can't just because you can still hear the car.
I just searched the Audio Acoustic Waggy one, and that only has 140,000 views, which is like good for him, but not necessarily enough that it would be. Why would it scrape that?
But these are the same video, right? Like I think it's the exact same video, except one's 6 minutes 9 seconds of the car in the desert, and one is 2 minutes and 26 seconds of a car in the desert. One was uploaded a year ago. One was uploaded 7 months ago. Like I actually don't. This is like the weird shit about YouTube, where like you just keep going and you're like, who's like. What is conjuring this content?
Well, because now that it's like infinite scroll, so I just searched Blink Waggy. I scroll through. At the top, it's always like the band playing it, and then it's like popular acoustic covers, and then it's the band playing it more, then more covers. Then you get to like a whole section scrolling of like playlists and stuff, and then just like sort of auto-generated placeholders for the label or whatever. But then if you keep scrolling, that's where you find all this weird-ass shit at the bottom.
Yeah. What the fuck? Well, if someone actually does understand how this could conceivably be generated, I would actually love to know because I actually don't know the answer. Although now I'm just watching Dennis Miller's videos and they're just like people playing with like remote control cars on sand dunes, and it looks so fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy that I found it. I'm just perplexed because of what a bizarre choice. Even wouldn't they put like Blink-182 Damn It or something, like something a little bit more?
Well, because I think it's just scraping information. I don't think they're it's actually looking even necessarily at popular videos. I think it's wholly
or maybe
random.
You know what else it could be? Maybe it was being uploaded from like iMovie or something, and then they had this in their metadata somewhere, and it got added by accident.
But the description is so weird. Like the description wants us to check out an OD acoustic album. I don't know, man. If you understand this, please DM us. Unless you're wrong, in which case, fuck off.
Or still DM. It's fun to make Sam mad.
No,
and I'll take your side next time if you say something that makes Sam mad.
Okay, this is good. I like this.
All right, well, it's gonna still be a long road ahead of us, but we finally made it to covers.
Hey.
I gotta pee though.
Okay. So a little bit of, behind the scenes for everyone listening. We actually just took a quick little pee break, and Josiah revealed to me that he's removed his shirt because it's too hot in his office. So I think it's very important, theater of the mind, know that for the duration of the podcast, Josiah has no shirt on in his office.
Well, no, just for the covers section. I was keeping it on earlier, but now that I know it's gonna get even sweatier, once we start playing.
Yeah, how hot are these
interpretations.
covers?
Well, Sam, there's a lot of them, so I'm just gonna start fucking plowing.
Let's
through
just
them
let's plow,
if
man.
you'll allow it.
You got your shirt off. You're halfway there.
I got my shirt off. I've shaved off my chest hair in honor of you.
Thanks, man.
Just a light dusting of pubes now.
Sick.
On
On your chest?
Yeah. Are chest hairs pubes? I thought they were.
I guess they're like in the pube family. It's sort of like how a rectangle or a square is a rectangle, but not rectangles aren't all squares.
I mean, like, you get those hairs when you go through puberty. So to me, that's how you define it. No?
Yeah, I always thought of pubes as being in the pubic region. like they're pubic hairs. They're not puberty hairs. You know?
Well, then I guess I've been calling them the wrong thing all along. This explains a lot.
I just like to imagine the various sort of like, you know, not like super bad, but just like weird situations that this 20-year misunderstanding has led you into.
Yeah.
So
well, I
right
guess
into covers.
by my logic, also a mustache would be pubes. Which I also agree with.
Yeah, that's fair. A mustache. This is like as a hot dog a sandwich. Is a mustache pubes?
I'm gonna tweet that right now and find out.
Okay, good. So while are you tweeting that from your account or from the pod account?
Oh, should I do the pod? Yeah, that's better.
Well, I mean, look, this is like it's up to you, man. Where do you want the content to go?
Yeah, I think this is not funny enough for my normal account. Mustache.
Pubes. Yeah, and then we'll check back in on the responses to that at the end of the episode.
Yeah, this is like basically live since we're recording this so close to the drop date. Okay.
Does it sound like shit the way I said all live stuff sounds?
I was complaining, speaking of live stuff, that the acoustic version was too earnest, and as I warned you, a lot of people have gone very, very far down the Earnestman route. Mm-hmm. And what more of an Earnestman name would you think of than Paper Rockets? Isn't that just so, like...
I truly cannot think of a more Earnestman name than Paper Rockets.
Like, I can just see this guy's merch. It's like a baby blue T-shirt with an elaborate drawing of a robot, you know, sitting in a forest, like just sitting against a tree or something.
Yeah, I owned that shirt in the 10th grade.
Yeah, it's like post-threadless kind of vibe. But anyways, Paper Rockets, who has uploaded this video in 2014, and has amassed nearly 3,000 views. It's unfortunately there's a visual element, but you'll see it if you go on our Twitter. He's not only does it sound so earnest, but he's put a GoPro on the neck of his guitar.
Unless you can really see him shred.
Yeah, exactly. So let's hear this fucking guy.
Watching your house shrink away in my rearview mirror as I drive away, wishing that I could take back all those words that meant nothing that I didn't say. I'm trying.
Fuck me, man. So, some more visual context. He's recorded this whole thing on, like, you know, the porch or whatever of his apartment. What do you call it? What is that? You know, deck?
Yeah. It looks. I thought it was the roof. Maybe I'm wrong.
Either way, he's clearly kind of surrounded by buildings, and I just like to imagine looking out at him and his studded Blink-182 acoustic guitar strap, and just being like, "Honey, this fucking Paper Rockets is out again."
Yeah, just like,
and just gawking at
they're
him.
like grabbing the broom and like poking him with it like he's a pigeon.
Yeah, exactly.
This really makes me think of a very philosophical question that I feel like I may have asked once before, but maybe not. But do you think anyone is actually naturally born with a pop punk singing voice, or is it all affectation? Because this person has gone clearly way too far down the pop punk voice affectation road.
I think it's the same as the like fest voice, which is if you're not naturally good at singing, like an easy thing to do is kind of just to like go up here. And I think that some people like I think for Tom it was like not an affectation, but just like the way that you are even able to sing, right? And it's kind of the same as Chuck Reagan. Like Chuck Reagan's got a weird fucking voice, and the way that he was able to use it was to do that fucking thing. And then you end up with hordes of people affecting it because they just think that that's how like the genre is supposed to sound, and it's grotesque.
So that you're saying the pop punk nasal voice.
I think it's a real way.
A few people like adopted that style to hide their inefficiencies as singers, and then it has just become sort of bastardized and overdone to the point where now this guy on the roof is like Goo Goo Gaga fucking.
I think that Ben Weasel like actually can only sing in that register, and that's just the reality of it. And then there's just hordes of people like this guy doing the same thing. I also just want to say, and maybe I'm repeating myself, but like watching stuff like this is such a reminder of like the fact that like
life is bad.
Life is bad. No, just like that white privilege is real. Like this man has fumbled through his entire life thinking that like, this was a good idea, encouraged by people, when like it's terrible and no one should do this. And it's only fucking guys like this that do this stuff. I did stuff like this. Like this is me. And I can smell my own where you're like, I've got something to say. And you don't. You have nothing. Like just stop. Like just stop.
Well, this person is doing really well for I mean, Paper Rocket's quite popular. And they're not white either. They're from Argentina, so they're Argentinian.
Well, so, it's the definition of Argentinian privilege, Josiah.
Just rewind and bleep in male privilege.
Should I? Yeah, okay. Should I go back and just bleep it so you actually don't know which race I'm insulting?
Go back, just record the word male, and then just like paste that over top of the word white.
Right. I mean, that's what I meant. You know.
Oh God!
I think I have to leave that all in and just be hoisted by my own petard.
Oh, well, you mentioned... Okay, first of all, quick update. Downpourguy_ on Twitter has replied to my question, is a mustache pubes? And he wrote, yes, next question.
Is chest hair pubes is the next question.
Okay, I'll ask that next.
I mean, I can only imagine that if he thinks that the mustache... Like, his logic will probably follow the whole way down. But, you know, worth checking in.
I mean, this is cool. Now I understand what the thrill of the Google Hangout will be like. I'm talking to one stranger about pubes right now while my wife is alone in the other room. It's really cool. Really good use of my time. So you mentioned Fest, and I think this is fairly festy. I don't think it's actually at Fest, but this video was uploaded by Razor Cake, of all people.
Oh.
That's like some fucking beardo type shit, right? Like,
oh yeah, dude, fucking Razor Cake is the beardioest shit of beardo shit.
I mean, even that name, you're like, oh, what would I like for my birthday, you ask? How about to maintain this gravelly voice of mine, I'll take a big slice of Razor Cake.
Wow, that's good. You know, if you actually look up Razor Cake on Wikipedia, the Wikipedia image is of Steve Ademic Band. So little, Canadian connect there as well.
Yeah, and I feel like I said someone looked like him recently, and he didn't reply, so I guess he doesn't listen anymore. So, wow.
Wow, disappointing, Steve Ademic.
So this band is called Winter Break. I don't know if you know them. Asian Man Records looks like released their shit.
Oh, okay. Is this going to be good?
I mean, to me, it's like not what I love. But I can see why people like it, and it looks like it would be fun to go. It's personally more, I think, of the Sam world.
Yeah, I'm watching this video, and this is like my
This is like
dream.
some Harm Brothers.
This is like what I want every punk experience of my life to be like visually as well.
This was uploaded by Razor Cake Gorski, which I think is just the YouTube channel of Razor Cake or something. Winter Break. Performing Waggy at Pitzer College in 2014. And I just want to say, I agree. The video is so epic. They're like on a roof again, and they're all like it looks like someone's going to fall off the roof. Everyone's going crazy. But the top comment is, he's playing this song wrong, but other than that, awesome guy.
Well, yeah. Okay, so for context though, like I don't know if I didn't realize they were on a roof, but the band is completely surrounded. Like they're playing into the drummer, and then everyone is like moshing like crazy behind them. So
maybe it's actually not on a roof, but it's definitely outside.
Yeah, but they're playing on the ground. They're surrounded. This is what like every late night fest set used to be like, where you'd like get someone who was straight edge or sober. because they had been too festy in an earlier life, to drive you out to like the middle of nowhere to some storage unit where like Broadway Calls was doing an all Jawbreaker cover set, and you like just looking at this is so evocative of like those nights to me. And
yeah, I feel like you almost don't even need to hear this.
I don't want you to play it. I don't want you to play because I'm worried it's not going to live up to how I feel about it.
Okay, well, regardless, here is Winter Break.
I wish I was there. I love that. Another comment is, I would have just stopped playing. And someone says, why? It's like, I can't play with this many people. Like, this is the point.
Like everyone is. Yeah, exactly. Those people are so dumb. Those commenters probably would prefer if this video sounded like the Jimmy Kimmel recording.
Right. Yeah. He's like, good, clean.
Yeah. No, it's definitely like this video rules. It's really good, and it further cements the song as an Earnestman anthem.
Yeah, for all my fellow earnestmen out there, fucking.
Downpour Guy says, Downpour Guy says that chest hair is only pubes if it joins with your mustache or your regular pubes.
That's interesting. So they're an island between two pubes.
Yeah, exactly. So that is quite interesting. Now I wonder if he means joins by skin or by hair.
By hair.
It's all joined by skin.
Yeah, we are nothing if not joined by skin, top to bottom.
Okay, let's keep this trade moving because there's still so much. I don't want ska season to end, and I think that despite your comments earlier, you don't want ska season to end either.
No, not really. Oh, this is a ska's band name, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I assume this is a ska band. This isn't an entirely ska cover, but the band is called Bargain Bin Heroes, and they got a fucking trombone up here, so we're obviously going to play that. This is uploaded by Drummond J108, Bargain Bin Heroes, with Waggy.
And here it goes. This song's called Waggy.
Yeah.
I think the sign that they're a ska band is that they can't sing.
Yeah, it's very ska.
Because they're used to just sort of like half rapping or whatever you do in ska voice.
Once again, I feel like it's one of those things. You're watching it now, it's totally fine. If I was in that room at that time, like Josiah, can you imagine if you were in the room when that started?
Yeah, I don't think I would have the reaction that you. I feel
right
like if you were in almost any of these rooms, I think you would be right to the front.
If I'm in a room, man, you better believe I'm at the front of it.
Hey, when it comes to rooms, I'm in the front.
Yeah.
When it comes to beamers, I'm in the back.
It's just how I live my life, man.
Nothing better than the back of a fucking beamer, baby. Okay, I got to play this one because this is like. I was like, oh, this is weird. Is this Twins playing this? This is uploaded by Johnny D in 2014. He called it a bad cover, so he's being self-conscious. I'm going to play you a little bit of it first, then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Shrink away in my living mirror as I drive away, wishing that I could take back all those words that I already say.
I mean, not great singing, but did you notice what's going on in this video?
Is it all him?
Yeah.
But it's like so dark and low quality. It's so weird.
he said, and this is funny. He said, "I bet I played this on par with Blink-182's standards of a live performance. Haha. So I poorly green screened myself into a full band, trying to imitate a live performance, if you will." So this is all done with green screen.
It looks like a low quality basement VHS.
It's like
And
done really well.
No, not in a really dramatically affected way. Like, this looks like every other video you and I have watched of a band playing in a basement and been like, "Oh, sick, I love the basement, man."
The only way you can tell is if you go to, like, say the 15-second mark, you can see the bass head is kind of getting, like, feathered out.
Oh, right.
Like, but other than that, you're just like, this is surreal.
I gotta say, man, I think we've done pretty well, like, with all the visual elements of this podcast, like describing them and then threading them on Twitter afterwards. But suggesting that at the 15-second mark, the bass appears a little threaded is like, you're over the fucking line.
It's really
now.
good. Yeah, it's a really good comment that deserves to be preserved on a pod.
No, it's good. It's good.
I don't know. I mean, I can't.
I kind of like the guitar tone. I just like
so much effort done into like green screening it, and then the vocals are just sound like a Family Guy voice.
I like him. I like all three Johnny D's. Johnny and his 3Ds.
Whoa, 3D?
What?
Visual thing. Get it?
Just one of our many
now,
great visual jokes.
I'd be remiss if we didn't return to the middle school because, I mean, once you see this, you'll know why we had to play it. But this is another middle school / high school cover. The Rolling Coasters, live at Watertown Middle School. Yes,
look at these kids.
So this is 71 views, uploaded by the Rolling Coasters themselves. And I'm surprised it's not a Vivo site, to be honest. But, yeah, they have 71 views. And the singer is just... he looks like the Shock Top beer guy.
Yeah, he's trying to look like the Exploited logo, but he looks so much more like a beer mascot,
or like a extra in like a straight to VOD thriller, like about like the seedy gang, and you're like, what kind of person is this supposed to be?
Yeah. So his mohawk is super high. Is it bleach blonde or is it just lit that way?
Regardless of that, we're gonna need the hair editor to comment on this.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to get a very special comment.
I think there is some color in there for sure.
It's like it's standing up perfectly straight. Like
he's wearing very baggy jeans and a plain black T-shirt that again just suggests that like an extra Wrangler dressed him.
Yeah, and the other three guys look super normal. Like they have just like normal like teen boy shag cuts.
I thought the one boy was wearing... Oh, he's wearing a T-shirt of his own school's music program.
Nice, man. You got to support the school.
So let's hear what the Rolling Coasters sound like. It's really good.
I love it, man. I mean, like, I would go see that band.
The other thing that makes the singer seem again like something from the background of a movie, or like that he's doing an impression of a punk that he saw in like a PS2 game or something, is just the way that he's like dancing along to the music and doing air guitar and stuff.
Yeah, it's like he's not fully in command of his own movements yet. He honestly seems like what's the term in video games, like a non-playable character or whatever, of just like the punk. Looking at their page though, one of their most popular videos, I believe their second most popular video, is in fact a cover of former guest of the pod Chris Cresswell's band, the Flatliners. So, I mean, maybe in like a bit of an homage to them, we could just hear a couple of seconds of them doing the Flatliners. This was uploaded a year prior to the Waggy cover, and the mohawk is like a baby mohawk. Like, you literally watched this kid grow up overnight. And by that, I mean
he's wearing an Unseen T-shirt here.
Yes.
Which is like a name I've seen, but I don't really... What is that band again?
It's just like the band that kids that do their hair like this listen to.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. So it looks like all the same members are here. So they really
the boys are still together, but they're playing like clearly some sort of school fair, I think. So they're like under an awning, and there's just like hundreds of disinterested adults milling around behind them.
This is really just the greatest podcast ever.
So, can we listen to it? Like, just a second.
Can we make a feature-length movie that's just children performing punk songs at fairs?
Yeah,
and
totally.
put it in theaters? Like,
Well,
can you talk to like a distributor?
Well, there was that movie. I can't remember what it was called, but it was comprised entirely of Russian dash cam footage, right?
Yeah.
And that was like kind of the first. Prior to that, there was that movie that was much more problematic. That was like a non-Indigenous filmmaker making a film about Northern Canada and Indigenous communities, entirely sourced from YouTube footage, uploaded
Right, the
by
one you're talking
Indigenous
about
people.
is the Road movie was put out by Oscilloscope.
Yeah.
And I still haven't seen it. I would love to see it.
I
Like,
heard-
is there a narrative under it?
I
or-
don't really know. They played it at this great rep cinema here in Toronto called the Royal for a couple of days, and I couldn't go. But like, we could do that. We could basically do the road movie of just like teens playing punk covers at like fucking school fairs, the fun fair. Like the cakewalk is
walking
happening
by.
behind them.
All right, so this is the Rolling Coasters with the Flatliners, This Respirator.
Honestly, I feel like I've seen the Flatliners play more than like any band, just because they're pals. They've opened every single show that happened in the city forever. Every time
one guy's name has two Chris's in it. So.
he's a double Chris, so it just gets my heart going. We've played Junior Battles played so many shows with them, and that is the best version of This Respirator I've ever heard. So apologies to the double Chris of my heart, but like that's. I think you got to retire that song now.
I think these boys definitely grew up to be more like Guitar Center performers. You can tell because they have like some funky grooves going on that
Yeah.
once you go down that path, you don't go back to punk rock.
No, it's hard.
Unfortunately.
It's hard to get that funky. But to me, this is like, when Jeff Buckley covered Hallelujah and Leonard Cohen said, "The song is yours,"
Right, I agree. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna play one more horrible one, and then I'm gonna play two good ones, and then we're gonna go on with our lives.
Sounds
How's that sound?
like a dream.
So this is like the folkiest of the folk that I could find, which is fucking folky as fuck. This is Dan Warburton, and it kind of is along the lines of like a family fair. If you look at his SoundCloud photo, he is like just playing in front of some bunting and a tent to what appears to be absolutely no one.
It's like in his own backyard or something. It's a very strange photo.
Yeah, like this is like accountant folk. You know what I mean? Like everything's too clean and perfect. Like he definitely has like a salaried job. But yeah, good for him. Good for you, Dan. So here's his cover of Waggy.
Watching your house shrink away in my rearview mirror as I drive away. Wishing that I could take back all those words that meant nothing that I didn't say. I'm trying to be what you want me to be, but it's so damn hard to keep playing the part of a fool week after week. I think you need some time alone.
Can I be really honest?
I felt like I was giving Ed Sheeran like a colonoscopy. It was so intimate. So intimate.
That sounded like a Peter, Paul, and Mary song to me. And, I get that Peter, Paul, and Mary are like, the true pablum of real folk. Like they take like a really like edgy, Bob Dylan song and then just do 3-part harmonies and like just sand off all of the Dylan-y weirdness. And those were the first ways that I heard like many classic folk songs. And I thought it was great.
That's fair.
Yeah, I was just like, cool. I mean,
Honestly,
I get that it's not the cool answer, but I enjoyed.
Think in my visceral reaction, like if I didn't think about it, I would also have to admit that it was good. But everything about it irks me so much that I just can't. Like there's this battle raging inside me right now, and I don't know what to do about it.
You have a lot of complex emotions, Josiah.
I do, but this one I love. And
does it sound like K Records, or is it like a couple of like young girls just kind of just playing for the fun of it?
Actually, this is insanely complex and complicated. This is Johan's Mind on SoundCloud, and he has called it Mathgy instead of Waggy. And here's why.
Oh, okay.
Watching your house shrink away in my rearview mirror as I drive away. Wishing that I could take back all those words that meant nothing that I didn't say. I'm trying to be what you want me to be, but it's so damn hard to keep playing the part of the fool week after week. I think you need some time alone. You say you want someone to call your own. Open your eyes.
Is that the best thing we've ever played on this podcast?
Isn't that insane?
I love it. Do you ever listen to that band Model? They were like it was basically like one dude, I think, more or less, but like very kind of like Southern Ontario, like definitely played with Manine and stuff. It sounded like that, but like a more serious version of it.
I never really did. I never heard that, and I've never really gone beyond like Kinsella stuff with this sort of music, but I feel like I would love it, especially now. I think I'm ready. Like the vocals still are very earnest, which always turns me off at first, but that was crazy. Like I felt like I was kind of, my brain was breaking in half while I was listening to it.
Yeah, I had the same reaction to the vocals. I was like, ooh, just like pull the vocals back a little bit and like put some distortion, like just shield me a little bit from how real the vocals are. But the vocal performance is totally good, and I kind of like that, even though it's this like hilariously intricate, arrangement of it, that they've still just put the melody up front and not made it all about the Kinsella vibes. That was so fun. Also,
I was making fun of like music shop people earlier, but I will say I truly do love hearing music where I'm like, damn, how the fuck are they playing that guitar run? Like that's insane.
Yeah, it reminds me,
especially when the guitars are all clean too. It's like they can't hide any mistakes.
Yeah, it's true. You're fully exposed, and I admire that. All of your pubes are exposed. Your top, middle, and bottom pubes.
Yeah, I love that one. So now finally, this one is really good digging on my part, I will say. Even I don't need approval from anyone else because I know in my heart that this was good digging. But this didn't show up anywhere until I found it in the middle of someone's mixtape that they had uploaded on SoundCloud. And this is a cover by a project called Former Ghosts, which is Freddie Rupert from the band This Song Is a Mess But So Am I. And in this band, Former Ghosts, he often collaborates with Shoo Shoo frontman Jamie Stewart, Zola Jesus, Yasmin Kittles of Tierist, Carla Bozulik. So it's like a lot of like very like art school pop people, and this was just on like a download only compilation that he put out before one of his albums. So this is Former Ghosts with Waggy.
Wishing that I could take back all those words that meant nothing, but I did. harder to move week after week. I think you need some time alone. You say you want someone to call your own.
Dude, I wanted that to keep going.
I mean, we could have kept it going.
What's that? So what's that from?
He had an album called New Love, and before he put it out, that came out. Yeah, both of them came out in 2010. Before he put out New Love, he did like a download-only compilation called Old Love.
Oh, that was so fucking good.
Yeah, I know. And mostly it's originals, but he covered this song, and then he covered a song by Field Mice.
Wow.
And I think maybe one other cover. But yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like the real art people have been fucking with Blink for a long time too, you know?
Well, especially just like that is a perfect ass pop song, man. Fuck.
Yeah,
Oh.
I know. And I think that's a good segue into final thoughts, which is like my final thought is just that once again, this is such a simple but evocative song that really does translate into any interpretation and does a good job, regardless whether it's like teens or some earnest ass English boy or a math nerd or this. Like it just kind of works everywhere because it is sort of just like should be considered an American standard.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that surprised me the most is I was planning to at some point ask, like, so, you know, the big finale of the song, like, it's never over till it's done, and I don't think that you're the one. I was like, Josiah, when you listen to this now, what heartbreak, what relationship does this remind you of? Like, was there a girl in the 8th grade that, you know, where you were like, you're not the one, because that's what you were looking for at that time? And what I realized, like, when I kind of listened to the song a couple more times, I was like, it doesn't remind me of anyone. Like, I don't think of a person, because what it reminds me of is just the general feeling of like that time and the sadness that you kind of were happy to wallow in because it was training wheels for wheels for adult sadness. And so it's just like, you know, like how Waggy as a title sort of protects the band from the earnestness of the song. It's like, in sort of playing with the sadness, and I'm kind of repeating what we were saying at the beginning, but like in playing with that's those emotions yourself as a kid, you're like safe from, you know, the actual sort of really grim realities of like the deterioration of an adult relationship. And so it just reminds me of like what it was like to feel sad when like being sad was like not really so bad. And so there's like a comfort in that
Right.
That adolescent version of sadness that like you'll never feel again. Like you'll never be sad that way. But this song
with a safety net, you mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And so this song is able to like elicit that emotion with like just nothing, like with like the simplest fucking guitar part. And then like it builds and builds on that and earns it and like becomes this, you know, American classic that we know and love today. The second best Waggy.
There you go. Speaking of American classics, and now on to an entirely different subject, we're going to talk about Seinfeld.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly, right?
So
that
this
was a good transition.
Thank you. We've got Seinfeld 2000 on the pod this week. I apologize in advance because we nerd out about a lot of Canadian stuff, so I'm sorry, Bill. But yeah, we talk about Blink, we talk about Canada, and I realized in talking to him that really that's kind of weird that Dude Ranch is so meaningful to us because I think that Enema of the State is definitely, at least right now, the most influential album that they put out.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. That's the one I feel like I see more references to now, even when people are kind of being nostalgic. So I assume that means you don't talk about Dude Ranch on this episode.
Not in any way whatsoever.
Perfect.
Watching your house shrink away in my rearview mirror as I drive away.
We are here with Seinfeld 2000. Welcome to the show, Seinfeld.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
So, yeah, this is there's really no good reason for having you except that you're Seinfeld 2000. And I think the whole time I was thinking that Blink-182 sort of existed at the same time as Seinfeld, but it really barely did, right?
It kind of started, when did they begin? 99 or something?
Blink-182, see, you know what? I every time I interview someone and they're like, oh yeah, when did they begin? I have to Google it, even though I'm on episode 46.
Oh, shit.
92.
Seems like something.
92 is when
92?
they started. Yeah. But I don't think they really got big until, you know, yeah, like 99 was Enema of the State. So they were sort
What
of
was
like,
that the one? Was that with all the small things and what's the one where they were naked in the
yeah,
video?
exactly. What's my age again? So that's
Oh, what's
99.
Oh, there you go. Okay, that's when I first knew about the
So
Blinksters.
it almost kind of, with the timing wise, because I know last week you released a song with Best Coast celebrating 20 years of the final episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
He's a bad breaker upper. He says the mean things you don't mean, but he means them. He called me big head. He's an idiot. He doesn't mean anything to me. He's insane. That's what I think. He doesn't really like to do everything. He's not married. He's poor. I'll laugh it off or jam a fork into his forehead. Here's to those who wish us well, and those who don't can go to hell. I hate men, but I'm not a lesbian, and I'm sick of being single. Jerry, maybe we should get married.
Actually, when we were recording that song, I was just kind of Googling around. I was like, it would be nice if there was more of like a news purpose to putting this out. And then I saw on Wikipedia that the show ended at that time. That was not deliberate, but it worked out well.
Oh, that explains, because from a pure social media standpoint, I was like, wow, no one's really mentioning this 20-year anniversary thing.
I mean, it's like it would be more like monumental if it was like the start of Seinfeld. The end is kind of a weird, but I don't know. People like online, they like to, everything seems to need an anniversary, and people like these sort of trivial.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, it kind of seems like, so May 14th, 1998, the first drummer of Blink-182, Scott Rayner, left in mid 1998, and then Travis Barker joined, and then they got huge in 1999. So I'm feeling like maybe Seinfeld needed to end in order for Blink-182 to begin.
Culturally, they needed to sort of clear the way so that a band as important as Blink could come in and take their spot and, sort of take on their audience. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think so.
It's all connected.
Yeah, I mean, the timing is crazy. But I also think, so there's I was really grasping at straws to try to find a crossover. And there's only one thing, which is from, I don't even know what episode, but there's Jerry talking about the right amount of cash to give to Elaine as a gift, and he says $182.
I mean, someone's birthday comes up, I keep my ears open. So what'd you get her?
$182.
Cash? You gotta be kidding. What kind of gift is that? That's like something her uncle would give her.
Right. Yeah. I did watch this clip, which, full disclosure, you sent me in advance. I caught it. That's the episode. I can't tell you the title right off the top of my head, but, essentially Elaine and Jerry are sort of kind of together, as I recall. And then he doesn't really know what to get her, and he gives her cash. And at the same time, Kramer gives her this like bench that she saw in some store that, months before, and he gave her. And then there was like a Yeats poem that he gave her in a card at the same time. It was like an extremely thoughtful gift, making Jerry look a lot worse. And I guess the amount of cash was $182.
Now, first of all, at that time in history, that seems like a lot of cash with like inflation and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a decent amount. Even today, I'm not going to turn down or really be offended if someone decided to give me $182.
It feels actually like an inappropriate amount.
Like a little too much.
Yeah.
Like, what are you paying for?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just Googling what $182 in 1992 would be today. Much like I asked the internet what Seinfeld would be like today. No, this is tougher to Google than, here we go. Oh, no, it's not. 182 Oh, you know what? Let's talk about other stuff while I crunch these numbers.
Right. Oh,
It'll
oh my
take a
God.
minute.
So
Yeah.
and you're on Time Crisis, and this is like an out of body experience for me because I'm getting Seinfeld to do a number crunch, just like
Yes.
on the actual show.
Uh-huh.
Amazing. Although I feel like you guys actually edit it a bit afterwards because I don't think you're doing. I don't. I feel like that show's not happening in real time. The music cues are too funny.
Yeah, yeah, it's very tightly done. I'm not really supposed to get too deep into this because, there's a certain, I guess things that are live feel more vital, but there's some polishing that goes into it. It's not live to air.
Right.
Um, I've just found out that $182.92 is $325.36 today.
So and
A lot
wait,
of
this
money.
is from 1992. Is that
Mm.
when the episode aired?
Oh, is that? Oh, yeah. No, weird. Oh, we got that wrong. I'm sorry. I don't know why I went with an ID2.
Because that's when
You know
Blink
what?
182 started, but that's an interesting point. So whatever the second number you said is, maybe that's what their band name should be today. Blink.
325.36.
Yeah, I think every year their name should adjust for inflation.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it would create a lot of paperwork and a lot of business headaches for their team, but they're artists. They don't have to worry about that side of things.
Yeah,
Uh,
they have all kinds of legal issues already with Tom DeLonge being gone from the band and everything. Anyway, so um,
oh, is he still doing the alien stuff?
oh
With
yeah, it's for real. It's happening. It's
oh,
he has
what
this
a
thing called To the Stars Academy where you can like sign up for this it's kind of like IPO for like this alien research company. I think you have to pay like $200 to get in on the ground floor, but
oh,
yeah, you
this
should.
sounds like a bit of a Ponzi scheme.
It could be, but
I
it
don't
also
know.
I don't know. You should watch the videos. I mean, I was skeptical, and then I watched the videos, and I was like, damn, I wish I was American so I could sign up for this.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, some of that Angels and Airwave stuff was pretty catchy. Like, what was the big one? Like,
The Adventure. Well, Seinfeld, I wanted to ask you. I mean, you said you don't have too much history with the band, but I assume that at some point you've tapped your toes to a Blink 182 song. I mean, do you have a punk rock past, or what's your upbringing
oh
musically?
man. Well, not really. I mean, I'll say that, in high school, junior high school, it was just really all about rap music, or as it used to be called, hip hop. And I remember this was like years before the iPod and iTunes. And so this was the time, my formative years in music were really where like it wasn't cool to step outside of your chosen genre. And I remember one of my best friends, he bought like, I don't know, 1996 or 7, he bought Melissa Etheridge's Dirty Little Secret album, and we like mocked him like to no end. It was just so like not the thing to do, like to sort of. And so, at the time for me, it was like Wu-Tang and, some like mainstream rap and Puff Daddy and Biggie and all that stuff. Like just like, oh, and then underground rap and Beatnuts and, DJ Premier and Gangstar and just, and so I remember, I'd be like watching TV and I'd see like a video for, whatever, like a funny video where they do like the Backstreet Boys parody. What was that one?
That was All the Small Things.
Oh God, every single time I reference them, I'm referencing one song. I'm not.
No, you've
Anyway,
done two. You've got two so
I've got
far.
two. All right. Yeah, so I remember being like, "Oh, those guys are, oh, they're wacky," but I mean, not really appreciating the music on a deep level, and sort of, at the time you couldn't really. There was no YouTube also, so you really would just have to wait for what you liked to come on. So it'd be like, I'm sure I did tap a toe while listening to it, but it wouldn't be something that I would like buy.
But do you think that then because you were like this hip hop head that you were too cool for it at the time?
Uh, I don't even know if coolness was really a factor, considering it was cool. It was just sort of the chosen. I just remember like my mentality at the time, which has since changed. Thinking these guitar sounds are very abrasive. The singing style was very like whiny to me. It just wasn't really what I was what I was into. I mean, I would like, there would be the occasional like alternative song that I'd like, but it would have to really transcend the aesthetics of, of the genre that I had chosen or whatever. So short
Yeah.
answer, not, I was very aware of them, and I remember they had that album with the nurse on
Yeah,
the cover with the
same
glove.
album. I
Oh,
think you
geez.
really just know Enema of the State, which is the one
Oh,
that,
that was.
yeah, that's like a
Yeah.
huge. I think that album is more influential than any of us ever realized because there's a whole generation of people who know it.
Yeah, I remember because at the time you'd go into like HMV or whatever, and then you could listen. You'd have the listening booth, and that was a cool thing because we'd pass like on my way home and to and from school, we'd pass the HMV. So you got to pop in. That was the place to hang out, listen to DMX or whatever. And then I remember just that album kind of being like ubiquitous in whatever year it came out. The posters and
Yeah.
seeing. And it was a very arresting image too. The nurse with the glove.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as a Canadian, you might appreciate this, but I've been trying so hard, and I think I need to reach out to some people because I remember the video where they were running around naked. The first time I saw it was premiered on Open Mic with Mike Bullard.
Oh no! Oh, Mike Bullard.
From the Temple of Television on the street that never ends, it's Open Mic with Mike Bullard.
Did you read the latest on him? Someone sent me this article about him on Facebook.
I heard he was arrested or something, or he got charged with stalking a coworker or something like that.
That's right. And then so that was like, I think like a year and a half ago, and he has since violated the terms of his probation or bail.
Oh my
or
God,
something.
yeah, you're talking like yesterday this came out.
This is hot. Yeah. Someone just sent me this on Facebook. And so now he's like under house arrest and he has to he can't leave the site of his like half brother and her common law partner or something. It's like, I was never a fan of his because I always felt like at the time when he was on television, I just never found him funny. I found him he would come out, he would insult his audience, but he wouldn't do it in a clever way, right?
That's exactly what I thought too.
Right. Yeah, it was awful. He'd come out, he'd find like an overweight man in the crowd or someone with a stupid hat, and he wouldn't be funny about it. He would just say, hey, that's a dumb hat, and then the camera would cut to them, and they would look a little bit embarrassed. And
I remember him doing a lot of nice accent.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, a few years ago, well, this would have been like early 2000s. I had a friend whose dad was part of a band that was performing on Bullard, so we got to go backstage. When I say got to, I'm making a face as I had to. Yeah, we were obligated to go backstage. And I remember the Sadies were performing on that show as well. And he did this bit where he sniffed us. He came up to us. He smelled us for the smell of marijuana. And then he made this joke about how we were gonna join the Sadies or something. And I guess the Sadies was known for pot smoking, or I don't know, but it was just it was as unfunny in real life as it was on the show. It was very surreal.
What part of town you been to lately? They just finished the American tour and took some time out to drop by to sing from their debut CD, Precious Moments. Please welcome the Sadies.
Anyway, so
well, if he's under house arrest now, I'm hoping. I mean, it's a very tragic situation, but maybe he can use his time at home to dig up those Blink-182 clips for me.
Yeah, that's right. Well, if he's listening and he wants to do that, he has the time, I think he should.
Please reach out.
You should. I mean, you should consider. Have you considered having him on the show?
You know what? Now that you've mentioned that, and I will say this: the one thing I love, my favorite memory of the Mike Bullard show was when Tom Green brought that dead raccoon on there or something. That was good.
It's funny. I don't know why, but I feel like I watched that clip within the last 2 months. I don't know how. You fall into one of these YouTube rabbit holes.
Absolutely.
And that's what. Yeah. That was great. Because Mike almost vomits or something.
Yeah, I feel like in my memory at least they had to pause filming for a little while because it got so crazy. Yeah, you're right. I remember thinking too, oh man, I completely forgot how edgy Tom Green really was. He did some stuff that even by today's standards I feel would have been
pretty controversial.
Oh yeah, I
fact.
mean, as two Canadians, I think we probably. I'm going to speak on behalf of both of us, but at least for me personally, I feel like he doesn't really get his due as being as influential as he is. Maybe for even Nathan for You or something, or Eric Andre
Yeah,
for sure.
I would agree with that. He, up until a few years ago, I mean, it's probably still going, but he had a show that was live before Facebook Live that was like on the internet. Do you remember this? It was like from
Oh
his house in
yeah,
LA.
yeah, I
I
remember
don't know what
that.
happened to that. Yeah, might have to check in on what our boy Tom Green is up to
I think he's
lately.
doing stand up now. But I assume if you were a Canadian hip hop teen, were you into
Yeah.
organized rhyme?
Well, again, like the one hit, the OR one, and then, you know, and then I remember like years and years later he came back solo with that song. It was seemed to be sort of aimed at like tweens. There was one song, I think there was a song about how homework sucked.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
or teachers suck? Was that what it was called? That was terrible.
I vaguely remember that.
Check it. I like to drink and I like to smoke. My teachers suck because they all a joke. They just folks that couldn't get a job because they were either too stupid or just a knob. The shit they teach, it ain't even shit. I never used algebra one bit.
2005. Anyway,
God.
I'm sorry.
To get
Continue.
back on whatever the topic is, what we're talking about, which I don't really know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do feel like when I imagine like TV shows, sitcoms versus pop punk bands, I do feel like Blink-182 is more of the Friends of the TV world, whereas Seinfeld to me is more Green Day, and I don't really know why. It's just more of like a vapor in the air right now that I feel.
I think that's accurate. I mean, right off the top of my head, Green Day preceded Blink-182. Green Day was more popular at one point. I think more critically respected, at least when they were both like, contemporaries and both like popping off. Um, yeah, I think I think that analogy tracks.
I guess
Sure.
also because the more we go back through it, like some of the jokes in Blink-182 songs are really not aging very well. There's a
What's a joke? What's a joke that hasn't aged well?
Oh, well, even this album opens with a song that's very like Jordan Peterson style. Like it's it's tongue in cheek, but he sings "I need a girl that I can train." That's like the main chorus. And you're
no.
like, oh my
When-
god.
When you say this album, like, do they have a new album?
Oh no, sorry, the one that you like, "Enema of the State." The
Oh,
only
Enema.
the only one that exists in your world.
The only one. Yes, the seminal album that. Well, that's problematic. Yeah, that is Jordan Peterson.
Whereas, and I really don't. I don't really care about Friends, to be honest. But I've
Good.
heard people doing the rewatch on Netflix saying that it's full of like rampant homophobia.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I wouldn't subject myself to going to revisiting it, so I'll have to take their word for it. But
Is there?
yeah,
There must be something problematic. There must be problematic stuff in Seinfeld, no?
there is. It was actually when I was working with Bethany Best Coast, we were talking about this, and I remember as a kid. I mean, it's not problematic on the level of homophobia, but it was pretty dark. Do you remember this line? So it was the episode where it was like my boys can swim. Remember they were talking about like their sperm count, and Kramer, was he thought he'd gotten a woman pregnant. Anyway, he said the line I think he says to Jerry is, "What, you've never slipped one past the goalpost all these years?" And Jerry responds, "Those records are permanently sealed."
I'm sorry, Kramer. Those records are permanently sealed.
And I remember, coming of age, because I was still pretty young, but when I caught that originally, being like, so Jerry has impregnated a woman and doesn't want to talk about it. And we've never heard about Jerry having a child or anything before on the show. So, any number of outcomes are kind of dark for Jerry to sort of glibly just toss off as a joke like that. And you ever watch something when you're a kid and it desensitizes you just a little bit, you feel it, you palpably feel yourself getting desensitized.
Oh, absolutely.
That was one of those such times.
Yeah,
I don't think they really. Oh,
Well, I was just gonna say that's why kind of at least me as I don't know, people complain that I'm too much of a SJW or whatever about this stuff, but I do feel like when you're listening to a catchy tune and you're not really thinking about what it lodges in your brain in a way where you're not necessarily thinking about how it's ironic or it's meant to be overblown or whatever. It kind of, especially when you're young and susceptible, you might not think about what it actually means.
Totally, yeah. I think you're right. And another thing that comes to mind is obviously the not that there's anything wrong with that episode, which, on its surface is not problematic. In fact, it was a way to sort of mitigate PC culture. But, I think I've tweeted about this, that there was something inherently, if you have to use that line over and over, you're sort of implying that there is actually something wrong with that.
Right.
That they were just, they were sort of, for the time, very cleverly avoiding the whole conversation.
We're not gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course not.
I mean, it's fine if that's who you are.
Absolutely.
I mean, I have many gay friends.
My father's gay.
So I'm sure, but I mean, I could see Friends probably doing a lot more. Actually, I was rewatching the Larry Sanders Show, and there's a lot of homophobic stuff in that show, with, Gary Shandling, joking about being perceived as gay or wondering who is gay, or I was surprised. I was like, wow, this just really speaks to that time.
Yeah,
where that was acceptable.
A lot of this stuff is definitely of the era. But moving along, I wanted to ask you about, because I don't think Jerry really in real life seems like the kind of guy who has any interest in pop punk or anything. Obviously, he's friends with Wale. I don't know what kind of music he's into now.
Yeah. Do you think he's really friends with Wale though? Aside from that album, do you think they text each other? Do they? I don't know. I don't know if they really hang out like that.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I also feel like Wale has done so many rebrands that it's kind of, I don't even know if Wale knows who Wale is anymore. Sometimes he's sometimes he's the sneakerhead hip hop Mishka mixtape guy, and then he's part of the Maybach music. So maybe he's even just lost.
I think so.
But you don't think Jerry's hanging out with rappers?
I think, occasionally I'll come across a picture of him with rappers. There's this great picture I found from some deep forum that was a screenshot or a scan of some old magazine, and it was Jerry, Jay-Z, and Damon Dash in 1997, and Jerry is doing a gun finger, very Run the Jewels. It's such a great photo. It's extremely low resolution. And I don't know, I think that was, I dug around again, I researched it a bit, and I think it was from the Chris Rock show, which makes sense.
Right.
But aside from that, I don't really, rappers, I feel like his wife, Jessica, is into rap, and is a big Rick Ross fan and stuff, but I don't think, I think Jerry's hanging out with comedians and his family, and that's about it.
Yeah,
often, under the influence of caffeine.
One of my favorite Jerry Seinfeld music things that is sort of Canadian music lore, and I don't even know if our listeners outside of Canada will know who this is, but there's this dude Hayden Desser. He's sort of a sad folk, he's not sad, but his music is very sad.
Girl of my dreams, things are as bad as they seem.
And he famously in the mid 90s, or maybe not famously, was Jerry Seinfeld requested a CD, and he has tweeted this note from Seinfeld, December 13th, requested Hayden CD, was told to call by KCRW. So
yeah, I'm looking at this now. So I mean, this message tells a story. Seinfeld personally called what his label,
I guess,
or just Hayden at home, and it looks like because he was referred by KCRW, Jerry made a few calls to try to get this, and then someone working for Hayden sent it with what's an SK card.
I have
and an
no
AM
idea.
card.
Saskatchewan card?
Yeah, that's what I said to Saskatchewan. I got a picture of the plains with
Yeah.
enjoy, the word enjoy written across it. Well, this is a window into Jerry's musical tastes that had not seen before. So I guess Jerry is into sad contemporary folk music.
Specifically Canadian, I guess.
Canadian.
I mean,
Yeah, I wonder how this would even.
yeah, mid '90s Hayden was also like he was not actually very quiet. He was doing sort of like a yarling like growl over the
Oh,
acoustic
okay.
guitar. So maybe Jerry was a little more. But also it's weird. Maybe it was just access. But I feel like if you're Jerry Seinfeld and you want a Hayden CD, just go buy it.
Yeah, that's well, that's also telling. Was Jerry just calling in favors all the time personally for himself? Like, he's like the hottest thing on television. He can get whatever he wants. He doesn't have to pay for it. He just calls you up and he wants your CD. He's going to call the artist directly. They'll send it to him. Does sound like a lot of work for something that doesn't really cost a lot of money for someone making so much money, but
Exactly.
I don't.
He doesn't know how to buy things. He just knows how to call people, I guess.
But, that actually reminds me of his latest stand-up special. He has this whole thing about Uber, and he talks about how he doesn't understand how it works. And a lot of people were criticizing him for seeming very out of touch because the whole bit is like, where do Ubers come from? Do they just show up? I got to do a car. It's like, how I guess a lot of people are just doing these things for him, but maybe that's the same vibe.
Yeah.
How do I get a CD? Do I call the artist directly? This is an awful Seinfeld impression, by the way. But sometimes my impressions are more about just not sounding like myself, to signify that I'm doing somebody else.
Well, we
Anyway.
already call you Seinfeld, so we know that you're Seinfeld, no matter what. You're determining what the real impression should sound like.
Thank you.
As you
Yes,
talk. Well,
right.
just finally, I don't know exactly when you started your Twitter account. Do you remember? Like, do you remember the day that you sat down and did it?
I don't remember the day, but I think it was January 2013, and it's been over 5 years. And I remember at the time, I remember distinctly thinking, I am going to do this for like almost exactly a week, and I'm only going to do it to annoy this other account that was irritating me. And and the best I could ask for would be if they could acknowledge, like if they were publicly irritated by it, or if somebody else, like, I don't know, it got a little bit of notice.
Right.
And
Well,
here
I
we
gotta
are.
say, I could always tell that was the reason. It's sort of like a pet. It started off not necessarily truly imagining what Seinfeld would be like on TV, say, but more as a mockery of how uninspired other people's ideas of what Seinfeld would be like. Is that
Thank you.
fair to
Yeah,
say?
I would say you've nailed it. It was the idea that, that was so offensive to me was that, oh, these two BuzzFeed guys had just taken it upon themselves to start, continuing the show. And there was a certain smugness to that really rubbed me the wrong way. And then I thought, using that same ethos, what if someone who, is demented had this and did the exact same thing, and here we are.
So I guess I just wanted to ask your advice because in the same way that, not that you're ending, but the show Seinfeld ended and then Blink-182 had room to thrive. And we are dedicated to this stupid idea that is going to last at least 3 years. So, I mean, how do we talk about Blink-182 for 3 years without going crazy?
I think you just have to keep evolving the conversation and finding new angles and new tangent. I mean, based on this conversation alone, it really does sound like you're already doing it. And if it really does drive you crazy, maybe you can just focus on a different band. I mean, wasn't there also? I feel like in the wave of popularity of Blink, there were all these other bands that came about.
Oh
sort of
yeah,
in their
definitely.
way.
Plus
Or you could
44.
Plus 44. You could do a DJ AM tribute episode because he was like
Absolutely.
Travis Barker adjacent. Oh yeah, you could do a Sum 41 thing. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of material for you to work with there.
It's true. It's true.
And they're still going, right? So they're giving you new stuff. Like you have an advantage that I don't with this Seinfeld stuff. Well, actually, that's not true. But I mean, I feel like you've got ample material.
Right. Well, thank you so much for the advice. That's what we needed to hear.
Yeah, and keep your imagination healthy, however you do, because that's really what it's all about.
Right. And are you spelling that with a E after the G?
Is there any other way?
Imagination.
Yeah, that's the only way to spell it. Am I wrong?
Perfect.
Yeah.
So finally, people can hear you on Time Crisis, which I talk about all the time. Such
Yeah,
a
they
good
can hear
show.
me. I mean, they can hear me a little bit. They can mostly hear Ezra and Jake, and then I'll chime in here and there because it's their show, and then I'm just in the background a little bit. But
we've all been that guy who is like, oh, someone mentioned Canada, and then they just like talk to you.
that's exactly what it is. Yeah, I'm on for like any Canada reference, any Seinfeld, obviously.
I was pretty pissed a couple of weeks ago. You said you didn't like Hawkins cheesies. For me.
Oh yeah, those are. I mean, this is a whole other conversation, but I think the Humpty Dumpty ones are really where it's at. No, the cheese crunchies with the dude. We should take this offline.
Yeah, we should. Okay, let's get off mic and hash it out.
and then people, if I can plug my thing, if people can follow me on Seinfeld 2000 on Twitter and Instagram, because there are all these other terrible Seinfeld Instagrams coming up, and they're like getting more popular. It makes no sense. So I'm begging you to help me thwart those rogue, illegitimate Seinfeld Instagrams, of which there are way too many.
I feel like if Seinfeld was currently on today, that would be something he would have to deal with, is like imposter accounts.
There are too many answers. I'm the real one. What am I doing? I should not try to do his voice.
Watching your house shrink away in my rearview mirror as I drive away. Wishing that I could take back all those words that meant nothing that I didn't say. I'm trying